Hi, Emily. Hi, Jane. Hi, Joyce, and two Joyces, Joyce and Joyce.
So I'm G.
Joyce G and Joyce B dash M. Baker Martin. Good morning, Joyce G. Hi, Marjorie,
For us
Jeannie,
to stream this live,
Elaine.
I'm gonna make you host again. You can make me a co-host.
Okay, we'll do that. And we've got Kevin, our TA, with us today.
Russ,
Yes.
your y'all's additional classes that you're adding almost daily are fabulous, fabulous.
Which ones are you liking?
Well, they're all of interest. I mean, when you're retired, everything's interesting, but specifically your travel, anything with art, anything with music. Great.
That's great to hear. That's what we're trying to do. You are a testimonial for our work the last 6 weeks. And we like to try to combine some things like art and music and travel.
It's wonderful. I could actually stay on Get Set Up website all day long, but I try to limit myself to one or two a day, but I could stay on it all day. Fascinating.
I would be a terrible marketer if I told you to go outside and enjoy the weather. So don't tell anyone I said that, but it's also good. It's also good to go outside and enjoy the weather.
Yeah,
Good point.
yeah. It is nice.
Yeah, but I've done several classes outside the house, on my phone, which is a lot of times why I'm not on camera.
Jeannie, thank you. That is an excellent suggestion. I am trying to actually teach some classes outdoors. I have a really nice setup on my front deck. And as it gets really warm into later May through June, July, and August, I should be able to do that frequently. Two things sometimes keep me from going out there. One is the sun, because I have to be able to get good sunlight without it being, too much. So I had to be able to put the umbrella up, and we often get high winds here, so I can't put my umbrella up. But the other thing is every now and then I have to watch out for noises. My neighbors next door, we have lots of woods behind our house, and we are suffering the loss of all our ash trees. So my neighbor and I are taking down ash trees. We both burn wood in our fireplace over the winter. And I sat down all perfectly set up, ready to do a class the other day. And my next door neighbor fired up his wood splitter. It was a little too noisy for the class, even though our microphones don't pick up as much as that. We don't want them to pick up too much. I knew it was going to pick up the wood splitter. So bird songs, I don't mind. Well, it's good to see you all this morning. Kevin is our TA, so if you have any questions, any technical problems, you can get a hold of Kevin through the chat. He'll also probably drop a few links in. Today's class is going to be I'll show you some content, but it's mostly going to be demonstration using my phone to show you stuff. There will be notes at the end with everything I show you, so you don't have to worry about what was that thing Russ showed us. What was that thing called? Relt? Oh, Yelp. I'll give you a list of those things. And by the way, do not be embarrassed to say I've never heard of Yelp or I've never heard of WhatsApp. What is that? That's okay, because same thing happened to me one day. I remember I was on a business trip and was at a 3-day conference and was going out to eat with a group of colleagues, and someone said, "Where should we eat?" And someone pulled out his phone and he said, "I'm Yelping it." And I said, "What's that?" And he showed me the Yelp app, and I said, "Oh, now I know." So
No, I've been saying that all since this program. What is that? What is this? Because terms you never heard, and even if I heard it, I never had an explanation. So this is what it exposes you to, different terms, different words. You now know what that is.
So Joyce, you're a great testimony. I got Karen
Amen.
and Joyce both giving great testimonials to what's up. We're gonna have you write that up and send it in because we're always looking for testimonials. So here's any comfort. So if I meet someone, I have 6 children. They're all millennials. I love millennials. Can't say enough good things about millennials. One's even sort of a Gen Z because he's 22 and he's grown up around digital things. But here's one thing, they'll look at you cross-eyed like you've never heard of, whatever. And I'll say, yeah, but I can tell you what the number one hit was in 1968, June. So just remember, I know some things you don't know.
Mm-hmm. And I like the idea. One time my sister was hearing, she had her grandchildren over and, they're into like hip hop rap thing, and she said she knows that song. Oh no, you don't know that song. But some of the rappers and the hip hoppers, they took 60s and 70s music,
That's right.
and they didn't believe her. They didn't believe her. They didn't believe her, but they believe her now. Yeah.
Very good. Well, thanks, Joyce. That's a great insight. We are here to talk about how to use your mobile phone for travel. And I got a whole lot of practical classes. They're all in a series called How to Make Travel Easy. And several of them are around using your phone. And I should also say, and I'll make sure I point out some of these to you, that Scott Sleek, another one of our guides, has lots of great classes on photography. And Scott and I have got a couple together. I think he teaches them specifically about travel photography. He does a class, and I'll explain all that. But just remember, and Donna does ones on art, and so she's doing art around the world. Deb's doing food around the world. So we're all kind of working together, and you can use all this stuff. And today it's about using your mobile phone. And I do several classes that overlap with this information. And as I was preparing for this class, I got to say, I came up with an idea for another class entirely. And I could do a whole class on how to get a SIM card in another country for your phone, because it is so complicated. It's more than I can give you information about today. I'm going to give you the idea today, and then we're just going to have to do another whole class on how to do it, because I've done it once and it's been it's a year and a half since I did it. And there's now even more to know about it. So we'll talk about that today. I'm glad to have you all here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to start with. As I said, most of today's class will be demonstration, and I'll be showing you all sorts of things. But we'll start out by talking about how to use your mobile phone while traveling. Hopefully you all see something that says something like that. Okay, good. I got a nod from Joyce. I know we're all in the right place. I'm Russ Eanes, your guide. I'm from Harrisonburg, Virginia. I'm a writer, a walker, and a cyclist. I formerly was a book publisher. And when I was a publisher, my favorite thing was to help authors shape their ideas into a book. And now I'm a full-time guide with Get Set Up. And that's because I love all the energy I get from working with older learners like you. We help you learn useful things and new skills. And we heard a bunch of those already this morning. Thank you, Karen and Joyce, for giving us the testimonial. You know what's one neat thing about a Get Set Up class? You can take it again and again and again. So I've been teaching classes on various things, and I've had people come back 2 or 3 times. And I said, you can keep coming back. Keep coming back till you learn it. We learn from each other in this environment. So ideally, we can see you and your cameras are on. We see each other. You can request a recording of this class after the class. And sometimes that's a really good thing, because when some of us are demonstrating, you can, when you get the recording, you can pause us and say, now let me figure out how to do that before we go on. If anyone's joining by live stream, and we are live streaming this morning, the best way to participate is to join us and register for a class. And lastly, Get Setup's not paid to promote any specific products. And I'll be mentioning a lot of products today, but I'm not paid to promote any of those. Public service announcement. Ta-da, this has nothing to do with mobile phones, except that I took this selfie with my phone this morning. If you've got a vaccination and you got a card, you can go to Krispy Kreme and get a free donut every day. Not just once. So my daughter and I, who are both vaccinated, she's visiting from Brooklyn. She's a teacher in Brooklyn. We went to Krispy Kreme this morning and we got our free donuts. So if you would like a little treat for yourself, I'm not promoting Krispy Kreme, may not be the healthiest thing, but I like their glazed donuts. You can get a free one, show them your vaccination card, and you can come back day after day. So just a little pause. Took that with a selfie. Look, I got my eyes closed. You're not supposed to have your eyes closed when you do the selfie. I'm sure Scott will teach you that in his class. Our agenda this morning is I'm just going to help you learn about all the capabilities of a mobile phone to help you plan and track your travel. And I'm going to look a little bit at how to use a mobile phone when you're out of your country. Not all the travel we're talking about today is international travel. You can use it anywhere you're traveling to do all sorts of stuff. But we'll also be focusing a bit on how you can use your mobile phone when you're out of the country, because we all get nervous when we leave the country and, oh no, what's going to happen to my cell phone when I get to this place or that place? And, I switch it on. Am I now going to get charged $1 million for whatever? And so I'll try to help you I'll try to show you the safety things that you don't have that happen, because it's happened to me. I spent too much money accidentally out of the country, wishing I hadn't, because I didn't know the right thing to do with my phone years ago. Now, here I'm going to start in a very strange way. This is the lovely Italian city of Spoleto, famous for culture. They have music and art festivals. I stopped in Spoleto, spent a whole extra day there with my wife while we were walking from Rome to Assisi on a pilgrimage in 2019. The reason I'm showing you Spoleto is because it was in Spoleto that I took this picture. And my first thing to tell you before you learn anything about using your phone is please enjoy the trip, not your phone. You can use your phone to do all sorts of things, but it's not about your phone. So I was in the middle, the city that Spoleto I showed you, I was in the middle of one of the beautiful piazzas in the center of the city, and I got this shot of 3 people all sitting there looking at their mobile devices at the same time, talking on the phone, looking at something on his phone, and she's looking at something on his phone. Hey, we could be any of us, but it just reminded me, it's not about the phone. It's not about telling people you were there. It's not about showing a picture. It's about the trip. So just remember that when I show you this morning. For me, I can put my phone in my pocket and not get it out for a whole afternoon if I want to. And I'm a photographer.
But it's shame.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to list a whole bunch of things that your mobile phone can do for you. And it's a fairly sizable list. You will get all these things in some notes at the end. So if I go too fast and you don't remember what it was, don't worry. You'll get all this in notes to remember it. And I'm mostly going to spend demos. So I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to go through some of these things pretty quickly. These are stuff you probably know, but maybe you didn't think about some of this. But first of all, your mobile phone is a phone, and you can use it while you're traveling, either in this country or internationally, to make phone calls, to do text, to do email. I don't know if any of you know, maybe you already know about WhatsApp. WhatsApp is a international texting format that does a whole lot more than texting. You can you can use it to make phone calls in a Wi-Fi environment. You can text with it. You can send photos. You can send recorded messages. You can do all sorts of things with WhatsApp. I learned about this from an exchange student who stayed with us a number of years ago. I have it on my phone. You want to use it in a wireless environment, but in Europe, for example, a lot of the people don't have phone plans like we do. They just buy packages and they top up when they need it. And they use a WhatsApp for a lot of texting because it's free. WhatsApp is free. So I'll show you WhatsApp when we get to the phone. But just remember, your mobile phone is a phone, or I want to call it a communication device. You can do all these things. And if you're traveling out of the country, I'll talk to you a little bit later about a SIM card or ways to get around charges on your phone. Because you don't actually have to ever switch your phone on in another country except in a Wi-Fi environment. And so you can use it at no cost at all, but you have to be able to know these things before you take off. Your phone is also a camera. And I know people now who are sort of photographers or like to do travel pictures. They don't take a camera with them at all. They just use their phone. In fact, many of the mobile phones on the market today are differentiated from each other by the quality of the camera, actually. So I have an iPhone SE 2020, which is a fairly new, very high quality phone with a good camera on it. But you could have spent about $400 more than I did. I think mine was only $300 or something like that. You could spend $700, $800 and you could get something with a lot better camera. So, you know, if people are, I've got a question here. We're just checking in. It is, are we being recorded is the question. And I'm going to make sure we're recording. Thank you for asking, Mara, about recording. We got recorded. Your phone is an excellent camera. Even the one I have, even the one I had before was a very good camera. What's nice about your phone is it will record the location of where you are and the time. So if you're trying to remember where was I when I took that picture, your phone, if you have the location data on, which really it will do that anytime. You don't even have to have use cellular data. As long as it can locate you, it will locate where the picture was taken. And I should point something out. I don't know this is true with Android, so I'm going to have to apologize if you have an Android or some other kind of phone. But iPhone, my Photos app on my phone works with the Photos app on my computer. And all of the photos I take go into my streaming photos. And they automatically end up on my computer. So that backs them up. They go through the cloud to my computer, to my photo stream. So it's a great way to also back up your photos. I should mention also that if you have a separate camera, most cameras over the last 6 to 7 years have a Wi-Fi capability, and you can often download the photos from your camera onto your phone and then back them up that way. So I'm just saying, but your phone is a camera. You can also get attachments like lenses. Like a zoom lens to add to your camera. And of course, you can always save a screen anytime. You can take a screenshot of something on your phone. So there's many, many things you can do with your phone as a camera. Then your phone does all these other things that I'm going to demonstrate some of these for you. You can use it to do navigation. If you have Google Maps, I like Google Maps over the built-in native app that comes with the iPhone, the Apple Maps. You can do your trip plan. You can do your trip planning, and I have a whole class I do on how to use your phone to make reservations on Booking.com, even flights, things like that. You can do your trip planning and make your reservations there. You can look for recommendations on your phone. Yelp is a good example of something that has recommendations. You can do documentation storage. So if you're traveling and you've got boarding passes, I put my boarding passes on my phone. Very easy to download. And I actually often download because I'm the primary user of all. I used to travel a lot by plane. So I'm the primary user of the maker of plane reservations. And so it's usually me making a reservation with my wife and maybe someone else. So I'll get all those, I can download all those boarding passes myself, but I can share them wirelessly or on Bluetooth with my wife so she can put it on there. Apple has a thing called your wallet, and it'll store all those documents for you. It'll store train tickets. You can use it also for translation. And again, when I show you the apps you can use in your phone, I show you how to use Google Translate. And you can also use a camera to hover over a text in a foreign language, and it'll translate it for you. I tried to demonstrate that the other day, didn't work very well, but I didn't have the right material. But you can do all those things with your phone. I'm going to demonstrate those, and you'll get this list in your notes at the end. You can also consider using a SIM card for the country that you're in. So I did this. I kind of knew this existed, and then in 2018. I took 6 weeks to walk across Spain in the Camino de Santiago, and I just had a foreign travel plan with Verizon. That's my mobile phone carrier. And I think I paid $40 for 200 megabytes of data and I don't know, a lot of phone calls and texts. Well, what happened was I left some of my apps open and I turned on my cellular data for just a second to find where I was on a map. and I didn't turn it off right away. And all of the apps that I had opened, like a news app and an email app, suddenly pulled in all that stuff and used up my 200 megabytes of data very quickly. I think I was 4 days out and my 200 megabytes was used up. So I just switched off cellular data the rest of the way and actually did just fine without cellular data, because I just used my phone in Wi-Fi environments, which are everywhere. However, later that year, I took a 1,000-mile trip across the UK on a bike, and a bunch of people in my group were sending messages and photos and all sorts of stuff when we were outside of a Wi-Fi environment. And they told me, oh, when we landed in London, we went to the Orange store or something like that, Vodafone, and we got SIM cards put in our phones, and it cost like $20 or $30. And now we have 15 gigabytes of data and 200 phone calls. I'm going, whoa, I got to do that. So in 2019, when I went to Italy, I did that. And I have some recommendations about that. Probably going to do a whole class about it, because there are different types of SIM cards. And someone asked me the other day in a class, can you get a SIM card that will go to more than one country? Like, can you get one that's for like all the European countries? The answer is yes, you can. So that's relatively new, but it's very nice to know. You just have to find the right company and the right card. That's because the EU has kind of taken down the walls between their countries in terms of roaming charges and cell phone charges. So one SIM card can cover you for 30 days, often come in 30-day plans. They might cost you $20, $30, $40. That's not very much to allow you to make something like 500 phone calls, which, I think I made one phone call when I was in Italy. Whole bunch of texts. Again, you can use it in a Wi-Fi environment. Doesn't really matter, but it's a good backup, especially if you're traveling somewhere, walking or hiking, or somewhere more out in the country, biking, where you are going to be in a Wi-Fi environment less often. Last tip, and then we're going to get to some demonstrating, is think ahead about charging. If you're going to take a phone with you, you're going to have to charge it. Now, you can buy 4 different countries charging adapters. You put in the wall, because their wall slots look different. They don't have the 2 prongs like we do. The British have 3 massive prongs. And in the European countries, on the continent, they have 2, and they're very small, and they look quite different. And you have to get an adapter to go from your little, whatever you're plugging your thing into that. But one thing I found when last time I was traveling to Europe, was that the easiest thing is just to get one of those adapters that goes, it's their own wall charger. So, the thing that we have that you put into the wall and you plug your USB cable into for charging anything that will charge USB, which could be a phone, it could be a camera, it could be something else. They have the exact same thing. It just looks a little different because it goes into their wall charger right here. So it has these 2 kind of round little prongs. And then I found on the street in Rome, I'm not 100% sure it's always going to work, because, it cost me €5, a little worried, but I found this thing that's got 3 USB ports. So you can charge a phone, you can charge a camera. Honestly, I don't charge more than a phone or a camera. I do have an iPad mini, which I will start taking with me on trips so I can write blog posts and emails while I'm traveling. And, the charger, the wall adapter is a little bit bigger from that, but it has a little thing that slides off, and you can put one of these European adapters on it. So watch out for that. You can pick these up when you're traveling. You can pick them up in the US before you go. I do recommend, just for safety, just for the best thing, this one right here is an Apple brand. If you've got an Apple phone, buy the Apple brand. They are for sure going to work. Sometimes these off brands, yes, what I got over here is an off brand. I'm not always sure that thing's going to work. It might not, but the Apple brand for sure will work with your phone and anything else that you need a wall adapter for. I'm going to stop the share and we'll do some demo, but let me first just field any questions that you may have.
I have one.
Yes.
Did you mention that on USB chargers, anything that'll fit in the plug will charge it, even in a car?
Sorry, on USB charge, if you've got that USB port, anything that charges with a USB port will work even in a car, yes.
Okay, so if it fits, it'll work.
If it's, it'll work. I'm going to give you the one option to remember is that tablets often require a higher level of charge. And so the tablet charging adapter is bigger. You know how the charging adapter on your laptop is bigger? It's running more voltage through it. I'm not an electrician. I just kind of understand this stuff. I just know it's running more volts through there, more amps, whatever, so that it can charge faster. And if I had it here, I would show you. But anything that is USB will go into your phone, into your car. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I actually keep a cable in my car if I ever find myself going out and I need to charge up my phone. Isn't it terrible how much we need these things? Nancy, you had a question.
Yes, can you use the charger on your Android phone also, or just the iPhone?
I'm pretty sure that if your Android plugs into the wall with a USB adapter, it'll work. My son is an Android and he has Apple stuff and he crisscrosses over platforms. So as far as I know, as long as it plugs into the wall with a USB, it will work. Danya.
You mentioned that there's a SIM card that can use for all of Europe, but with Brexit, does that mean England's not part of that anymore? Or is it still so new that maybe they still are?
No, it'll work in England. This is why I'm researching and probably going to do a whole class about it. In fact, what I'd really like to do to research it is travel to Europe and try it out in all these countries. But GetSet's probably not ready to send me on that trip. But when they're ready, I'll do it. I did do research, and what you get is a card that will work in like 71 countries, including the US. So it will include like Britain and the continent. So you can get one. And I'll recommend some of the particular brands. I've been researching it, and I always take my time to research because you got to be careful about recommendations. You got to make sure that the person recommending is a reputable source and not a representative of the company who is trying to sell their product. You just have to look at it very carefully. Even negative recommendations doesn't mean something is bad. Most of us often don't do recommendations unless we're upset about something. So my observation is that negative recommendations outweigh positive recommendations probably more than is really true. So I always check it out carefully. Sometimes people say this thing didn't work, and then 10 people say it worked just fine, and we discover the one that didn't work they weren't using it right. So
Thank you.
more questions? You can always put questions in the chat while I'm sharing things and showing you, and I'll also pause and ask for questions. I'm going to share my phone screen with you. Karen, go ahead.
I do have a comment. In traveling to different countries, before I knew about all these things you're talking about that are so great, I always use, because I do have the time, I always spend my first day at the local major phone company store. And I just mark off the first day. My husband watches TV and relaxes, and I go to the store. And it's been some great experiences in the store. Also visiting with the local people, because you're standing in, well, anyway, I've spent, I mark off one day just to get orientated and spending it at the local store. And then they tell me what to do, what's the latest, what's the greatest, and that kind of thing.
Good advice, Karen. That's slow travel, which I love. I was going to recommend, do not buy one. You can take my advice or leave it. Do not buy it ahead of time in the US. Go and get it at a store when you're there, because there are a few little settings to put in that they know and I don't, even if I have instructions. And I did this in Italy, and the person said about 3 or 4 things on my phone that I would never had a clue that I needed to set. Now, I also wrote them down while I was doing there, because I was going to have to undo what she did when I got back to the US and put my old SIM card back in. Great advice. Take your time, go to the store. We did the same thing in Italy. We didn't go to the airport store, which you can do, but we knew that we might pay a little more in the airport for anything. So we did it when we got to the town we were staying that night. We had the afternoon and evening to shop, and we found the TIM store, TIM, And that's where I got them to set my phone up for me. Good advice, Karen. Thank you. So I'm going to do a screen share now and share my phone via AirPlay. Let's see. Try one more time. Well, let me try this again. See if I can pull it. It was there a second ago. My screen mirroring, and it has disappeared. Let me stop sharing and we'll try it again. Kevin, you have a question?
Yes, actually, I sent you a message. Can you check?
I will check. Thank you. I don't see, there we go. I don't see a message in the chat from you, Kevin. I'm going to try my screen mirroring one more time. And I see my message. Very good. We're going to do a little. There we go. We're going to get back. There we go, Kevin. You are now my co-host. And I'm having a problem here getting my screen to mirror, which I am going to, let's do share screen. Let's see if. If everyone gives me 1 second, I'm going to go and get a cable for my phone. See, this happens even to the instructors.
Yep.
One more second.
Attach.
Okay, we're going to try this again, everybody. Thank you for your patience with me.
Yay!
So we're probably not seeing that yet, are we?
Nope.
No, we're going to try that one more time. Try a screen share. There it is. Everybody see my phone now? You also see my
Yes.
photos. There we go. Okay. Everyone sees the phone. All right. Thank you for your patience. Viola, did you have a question before I get started?
Yes.
Oh, you were
Let me
muted by
answer
accident.
that, Russ. I'll get back.
Okay. Thanks for your patience, everybody. So here's my phone, and I have a whole folder of apps that are travel related. I'm going to open that up and show you what I have in there. Okay, and those of you who've taken my class on using apps know that I have things like Global Convert on there. I'm just going to show you this one because this really is, if you're traveling anywhere out of the US, even if you're going to Canada or Mexico, this is an app you should have. Globe Convert does everything. You can convert weights, distances, currencies. If you go anywhere outside the US, they do not talk in terms of pounds and ounces. They talk in terms of grams and kilograms. And as I've said, if you go to buy something in a shop like a deli, you want to buy some nuts or some cheese or some seeds or something, they're going to be weighted usually by 100 grams. That's what this is right here. And you need to know that's about a little less than a quarter pound down here. See, it's a quarter pound. If you want to know what that's how many grams are in a pound. So you need to know stuff like this. This app is great because it can show you everything from distance to currency. I often say currency is one I like. So if I want to know how much it's going to cost me to get a euro when I travel about in abroad, it's going to cost me $1.20. Gives you an idea if you ever want to compare prices. The euro, by the way, has gone up. When I was in Europe last time, it was about $1.08. Shows you what's happened since the pandemic. You can save all sorts of currencies. So I have favorites here. So if I'm going to England, I want to know what 1 pound is. It's $1.41. Well, that's kind of pretty expensive. It's actually where it's traditionally been average for years. So actually it's not that expensive. So you have these favorites at the bottom. You can save all sorts of favorites from, mine are mostly currencies, but you can save other things. If you want to know what the Canadian dollar is, if you're going to go to Canada, ooh, the Canadian dollars come up. It's 82 cents US. That's pretty good for the Canadians. If you're going to go to Mexico, the Mexican peso is about 20 cents. Or $1 is 20 pesos. You can switch it and look at the other way. You can say, what is 1 peso? It's about 5 cents. So currency conversion is great. You can also use it for temperature. If you don't know what Celsius is, you're going to have to learn, because everywhere in Europe or Canada or Mexico, really anywhere outside the US, they do their temperatures in Celsius. So if you want to know what 32 degrees Fahrenheit is, it is 0 degrees Celsius. If you see a sign that says it's 15 C out, you'll know it's 59 degrees. I've learned that over the years. I've known that 20 degrees Celsius is really a comfortable temperature. It's 68. 21 is even better. 21 is almost 70 degrees. That's about the ideal temperature in the US. So this is a great app. I always recommend it, called Globe Convert. That's one I use for traveling. Some of these apps like Hopper and others I've demonstrated or Altimeter I've demonstrated in other classes. But I will show you some of the ones, like here's Yelp. So you can make recommendations if you don't know Yelp. If you want to know, I only just use Yelp for like food, beverages, that kind of thing. Yelp does a lot more. You can do all sorts of things, like you can find plumbers and auto repair, but I don't use it for that. So if I'm somewhere and I want to just search for restaurants, you can search for restaurants in your area and it pops up this little map right here. And then you can search on the map for restaurants. So this is Harrisonburg. And then if you click on one, Mashita, Korean, it'll tell you, you can call to order on that. Some of these also, if you click on it, it'll take you to a website. You can see a menu. Very helpful app. It's used a lot around the world. So that's why I recommend Yelp as a way to get recommendations. If you want to get an Uber, you can put the Uber app on your phone, or airlines like Southwest, United, Delta. And I've also mentioned in the class about how to use your mobile phone to make online reservations and plans. A lot of the national train lines, like this is DB, is Deutsche Bahn, that's Germany. You can make reservations and keep your tickets online and buy tickets on their app. It's a very good app. You can do that pretty much every major European country. Now, some things that you might not know when you're using, by the way, if anybody wants to know WhatsApp, here's my WhatsApp. I just clicked on it. It looks like this. I get confused by looking at this little thing up here that says messages. See, they're both green. But I put this one in a special place down here. I know WhatsApp is there. And WhatsApp does all sorts of interesting things because you can make calls with it. You can call somebody in a Wi-Fi environment and it won't cost you anything. You can make groups of people, and like this one I won't call family. So we've got children, in-laws, various people are all in this family chat. We can send messages and photos to each other. Viola, did you have a question? You're muted. Or someone says, I've got someone named Cease with a question. Go ahead, Cease, unmute yourself. You're still muted.
Thank you. I got it, I think.
You got it.
Okay. On this screen, I have chat backup. Does this mean I've never been in the chat thing? Because it's asking me to back it up daily, weekly, monthly, or off.
That is a good question. I would chat it. I would back it up daily.
Daily, okay. And then I could get back to a screen like I've got calls now instead of broadcast list. How do you get broadcast?
If you just click at the bottom, I'm clicking on chats, and then I can click on camera, which will take a picture. If you want to take something and send it right away, you've got status, calls. These little icons along the bottom are how you navigate WhatsApp.
Okay, which one are you on right now?
I'm on this one right now is calls, but I mostly use chats. So I do the one over here, and it's always highlighted in blue, the icon that you're on.
Okay, so you're on chats.
And
Okay.
probably we need to have a whole class on WhatsApp because today I want to try to cover several with you. So if you don't mind, I'm going to go on to.
I see it. Sure. Thank you.
Very good. No, I appreciate your questions. Viola, did you have a question now you wanted to raise? We can always come back to it later. So let me go out of this app and just show you a couple other apps because they're not in my travel folder. That I use for travel, and I have Google Translate on my phone, and I use Google Translate daily. I'm looking up a word, a phrase. I got a lot of family members that speak Spanish, and I'm always putting in their Spanish terms. What's neat about Google Translate is you can translate from English or to English from any language, and I can just switch by hitting the thing in the middle here. I now can go from French to English, English to French, and then I can click on, if I click on the French word, it pulls up this drop down of all the languages I can choose from that I have set. So I have English, French, Italian, German, Spanish, so where I've been recently. But if you want to do more languages, you can scroll down the list and there's hundreds of languages there that you can choose from. What's nice is when you do it, it will save the translation. So yesterday, I translated good morning from English to French, and it's bonjour, and it will even play it for you so you can hear what it sounds like. You can also do something that many of us who are travelers have been stuck somewhere and we don't know how to say something in another language. And we can type into here, we can say like, where is the bathroom? Where's the bathroom? And I can do it and so it shows the translation down here to French. Où est se trouvent les toilettes? And if I would say, no, I'm in Spain. I'm in Italy. Dove il bagno? That's Italian. And you can, if you click on it with your phone like this, hitting the arrow, it will give you a chance down here to listen to what it sounds like. So you can even try to say it. But maybe you feel too intimidated to say it. You can simply, very simply, put up the where is the bathroom, and it'll translate it down below here. You can show it to someone else, and they'll read it. Go, oh, well, they won't say in English. You're looking for the bathroom, like, oh, el baño, and il baño, and they'll point you the direction. So it's a handy way in a pinch to translate with a person, and also Google Translate is known all around the world. I keep hearing stories of people like they were somewhere in the world and they didn't know how to say something, and they translate it back and forth with somebody using their smartphone on Google Translate. So it's really an important app to use, and probably we ought to do a whole class on how to use Google Translate. So I'm realizing as we start to show some of these things that we can do a lot more than just what is when we kind of skim over these different apps, we can spend time in depth showing them to you. One last thing I want to show you on, if you have an iPhone, you have a little thing here called the wallet right here. And that is where you can store documents. I've got credit cards in there right now, which means I have credit cards stored for payment. But like I've got a Starbucks card in there. Go to Starbucks a couple times a year. But when you when you get a boarding pass for a flight and you do it through the app on your phone, it will automatically give you an option to save it into your wallet. And then you don't need to carry a separate boarding pass, figure out if I got it printed out or not, keep track of that piece of paper. What's nice about using a phone for travel is you really only have to keep track of this one thing and have the charger for it. It doesn't have your passport on it, so you need that too if you're traveling outside the country. If you're inside the country, make sure you have your driver's license, which is why I have my driver's license inside this case right here that my phone fits into. If I grab my phone, I can drive anywhere. I can travel anywhere because my driver's license is in it. I have this leather case. It fits around the phone. I'll show it to you later in case you want to get something like this. So those are handy things, some of the handiest apps. We're running short on time.
I just want to ask one question. Is that
yes,
all,
Joyce.
you can use that also on the iPad?
You can. Yep.
Okay.
Pretty much all of the apps I'm showing you are also on an iPad. So if you've got an iPad with you, you can use it there. And I don't show you them here, but I've got some foreign language apps on my phone. My wife's big on that because she's trying to get fluent in Spanish. And you can practice while you're traveling. You can a lot of these apps are free. You can practice some of your foreign language skill. You can learn how to count or say basic things in another language if you're going to a country. And you can also use your phone to do that. And just looking at phones, there's a phone I took with my daughter today. And when you click on it, it will give you location information right there. If you scroll down, it shows you where the photo was taken in the world. Wherever in the world it was taken, it shows you. So that's a handy thing, and you can see it right there. And I'm a photographer, and I take a separate camera with me. But what's nice is I might take a shot with my iPhone, and then I want to get out my camera, which is a little bit better, and do some special photography. Well, the iPhone locates where I was, and if the shot is similar to the one I took with my other camera, then I know where the shot was taken with my other camera.
What is your utilities app there?
I have my iPhone set up with just 2 pages with all my apps. I have no idea how many I have. Maybe I have 100. And I put them, that's because I don't want to have to keep scrolling through windows. See, I just told you I only have 2. There's a couple actually over on another page. I have to organize them. I put them into folders, and then I label the folders. So utilities has things like a calculator, Find My Phone, has a compass. I can do voice memos. I guess there's other things in it. Has a reminders. So I organize a lot of these odds, and I organize all the apps on my phone just into 2 pages, and then most of them are in folders. I mentioned language apps. I have a whole folder that's just language apps. So whatever country I'm going to go to and I want to practice my language, I can do it by pulling up that. You can see right now, they're all in the cloud. They have that little thing right now. My iPhone saves space by putting apps into the cloud when they're not being used, which is handy. I only need them when I only have to use them when when I'm going to need them. But beware, if you think you're going to need it ahead of time, don't forget to download that app. They don't download very well outside of a wireless environment. Lastly, I'm going to take 1 minute just to show you Google Maps, because it is probably about the most useful thing you can get when you're traveling anywhere around the country, when you're traveling from here to the next county. Google Maps is fabulous. It locates you on a map, and you can do things like save places. And I have little stars you'll see on my phone right here. I can save a particular spot on the map, and I can even do that on my laptop. And when I open up Google Maps on my phone, it's saved a saved spot. So when I've traveled to other countries, I've actually saved locations. You can see I've got all these starred locations all over the US, but now if you look into Europe, where I've been a lot, you can see many of them are in Europe as well. And if we zoom in on Italy, you can see a whole line of them. They'll reappear in a minute. There you go. That's actually where I took a walk from Rieti to Assisi. So I recorded all the places that I walked to on a map. So I like that. I might say ahead of time, I might do some research. I want to go to this place, and this place. And then when I get there, I pull up my phone, and they're located on my phone. And I can see where I am in relationship to those. You can also save maps offline. I'll click on my account, and it'll say down here offline maps, and I can create offline maps. And then you can use them even when your phone doesn't have any, if your cellular data shut off in your phone, because your phone always locates you through GPS in the world, even if you have it on, have your cellular data turned off. So it's a very handy thing. And I found a real savior, a saving utility when I've been traveling and I don't know where I am. I might even be just on a hike, and I've got the map saved on my phone, and my phone doesn't have a signal. Well, the phone at least has enough signal with GPS to know where you are. So I'm going to stop sharing at this point and ask if there are questions. I know I've gone through a lot of stuff. This is the first time I've done this class, but I've done other classes with similar material, and Scott does classes using your phone for photography. Go ahead, Karen.
On the subject you just had about saving your maps offline, is there a certain place you go to get your maps?
You know what you do, Karen? What you do is I'm going to have to share this again to show you, because really it's unfair to try to explain it. What you do, you should see my phone again. Okay, this was the Google map I had up. What you do is you find the place that you want to keep a map of, and you put it on your screen. Let's say this is Madrid. Okay, if you then you click on your identifier, your photo or whatever, and then you do on offline maps, and it will give you a chance to download the map that you just selected on your phone, to download it.
Oh.
And they expire after 30 days, which is kind of nice, because if you got a lot of apps, maps on your phone, they take up space, and I forget that I have them there. And so they expired. I see I've got some down here. It says downloaded map 12 expires May 3rd, 2022. You can delete them off your phone as soon as you come back. So anyway, it'll say up here, it'll say select your own map, and it'll go back and it'll see I'll pick the area around Spain. It says, do you want to download this map? And you can say, sure. And so you just hit download. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to bother doing that right now, but that's a really handy way to save maps. I did this when I went to Italy. I did this when I went to Spain. I saved some of the areas that I was going to be in because I knew that I would be out kind of in the middle of nowhere, and I would want to know, might want to know where I was. So I really like that.
Could I ask, now this is going to work because you have the new SIM card in your phone. Is that correct?
Yes, it will work even with your new SIM card. But you know what, Joyce, it will work even without your SIM card.
Oh, okay.
It'll work. Sure. Yeah, one thing you can do to travel abroad, you don't have to use your phone as a phone if you want. You can switch off the cellular data, which you still might get phone calls, and you don't have to answer them. But Or you know what else you can do? You can use a setting on your phone called Wi-Fi calling. You can turn on Wi-Fi calling, and then when you're in a Wi-Fi environment, you can make phone calls. So there are many ways to avoid having to get a SIM card. I do it just as kind of a nice, inexpensive way to assure myself that I have connectivity if I need it in a foreign country. But you can do all these things in a Wi-Fi environment without a SIM card. Cease, did you have one more question? No. Okay. Anybody else got a question? Or are there any in the chat that I am not seeing? Yes, Karen.
I have a question, and I'm sure there's a better way to do it than what I do. I'm always nervous traveling anywhere, anywhere that I might lose my phone. Okay. And I'm optimistic someone might find it and want to return it, and my phone's locked. So this is pretty antiquated. I'm sure there's a better way, but on the back of my phone, when I have actually taped with Scotch tape, emergency contact USA and whatever country I'm in. Now I've never had to use that, but I'm optimistic that they would find it, and they would, whatever country I'm in, they have a number to text that they found my phone. Like it's either a hotel concierge or a relative or a friend in that country. Is there a better way than Scotch taping an emergency on the back of my phone?
It kind of depends. A lot of us have phones where we use, we have like a little case on the back of the phone or something. So I was going to show you mine. I'll set it up on speaker view. I have this case, looks like this, inside and out. And my phone fits in the case like this. It's magnetic, so the phone can come out of the case. I don't have a screen protector on my phone because I keep my phone in this all the time. But
Where
what's
did you
nice,
purchase that?
pardon me?
Where did you purchase that?
I have a feeling I purchased this on Etsy, but I might have also purchased it on Amazon. It's leather, real leather, so it'll last longer. But what's neat about it is on the inside, I have all these card slots. And so Karen, I have my business card inside here with my name on it. So I'm hoping that if someone finds this, one other thing to remember is if you're traveling with a partner, make sure you and that partner, so in this case would be my spouse, have the permission to locate each other's phones. And that way, if you do think you set it down, or maybe you left it in the coffee shop, you can click on locate my phone. And if the phone is on, it'll show you where it is. I have a feeling I've done that. My wife and I have lost a phone somewhere, probably in the US, not traveling international. But one of us has set down a phone and left it somewhere, and we've clicked on the find my phone and go, oh, that's where it is.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Carolyn, do you have a question?
Yes. Oftentimes security is a question mark when you're using public Wi-Fi in Starbucks or restaurants or wherever. Have you found it safer in Europe?
I'm sorry, ask that question one more time, Carolyn.
Oftentimes you don't want to use Wi-Fi in a public area because of security issues, that somebody can tap into your stuff. My friend had that issue in a hotel, not in Europe, but in the States here. Is that an issue?
Well, I avoid doing anything that would involve something financial on my phone in a Wi-Fi public environment. That's a good example of where I wouldn't do that. I've never had a problem with it. I've heard of it, as you mentioned, and I just avoid doing that in a public environment. There are some good questions in the chat, which I'm unfortunately not able to answer, and they all are related to Android. And I'm sorry, Diana and Mara, I'm not able to do that. However, Donna teaches a class on Android. Look up Donna's class on Android and ask her that question when take that class. Nothing against Android. I got some Android users in the family, but I unfortunately just know Apple, because I've had Apple phones since the very beginning. Thank you, everybody, for being here. You're a great class. We covered a lot of material. Maybe we covered too much material. You can let me know in the class feedback. I love feedback. Russ, too much stuff. Do less next time. Perfect. Let me know that. You'll get an email covering all the stuff that I talked about today, and come back next week. Maybe the class will be a little bit different. Maybe I'll pare it down or have some better suggestions. I also do other classes on travel, including there's another one on how to use some of the apps on your phone for making travel plans. So come back to that class. You're a great group. Hope to see some of you later today in some classes.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Very nice.
Have a good
Okay.
afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
There's never too much information.
Thank you.
Thanks. Good to hear that,
Thank you.
Cease.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.